Recording. All righty. I have with me today Andrea Polling, who is a healthcare recruiter. She's also got a degree in dietetics, so she knows dietitians, she knows the uniqueness of our niche, and she's got lots of great expertise when it comes to job hunting, job searching, job interviewing. Her goal is to make dietitians stand out and really be successful, because the whole goal with us is to really demonstrate our awesomeness. We have the skills, we have all this great innate ability, but being able to present ourselves well in an interview during the job search process is what is super important. And so Andrea's got some great tips for us. And so Andrea and I were talking before, and Andrea, welcome. Did you want to say anything else about your background or who you are?
Well, I'm super excited to present this because I've always wanted to tell candidates like, oh, I wish you could do this and I wish you could do that before you even reach a recruiter. So, but yeah, my background, I do have a dietitian degree. However, I got into recruiting, so that's been more my expertise for the last 8 years. So I have a thing or two to say about it, and hopefully I can help one or two of you out there.
Yeah. So you and I were talking before. We're talking about sort of your top 5 mistakes you think people should avoid during the job search and interview process. One of the things I thought was super interesting when we first started talking was something I haven't talked about much before, and I think it's sort of this little gold nugget that people could really benefit from. And you had mentioned, I'll let you just say this. It's about a vision. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so going into an interview, I like to tell people to have a 90-day vision of what they want to accomplish or what they want to achieve there. Hiring managers usually have some kind of problem that they need to solve there. And if you go in there with the research, whether you've talked to the hiring manager or other people on the team and figure out what the company's pain problems is, you can go in there kind of tackling what they want and they'll be very impressed. And you definitely want to leave a lasting impression, and that will do it because most people don't do that at all.
Yes, exactly. That was my thought. It's like, that is genius. That is really helpful, and all these ways to help you stand out from the crowd. So I think that sort of goes into the next thing that you talked about, and going into the interview unprepared. We sort of know about this, but I think you've got some good ideas about how to prepare with a friend. Tell us about that.
Yeah, a lot of, like right now we're on camera, but a lot of people don't know what they look like. So call a friend, call a family member. There's actually a lot of services out there that you can pay to do a mock interview. So, or even if you don't have the money to do that, just put yourself on camera, your phone, your computer, and see how you present yourself. Because I've sat across so many candidates who I wish they would just smile. Not that they're not happy, but they don't even know what their face looks like. But then just even the questions, a lot of people get stumped at the simplest ones, such as, tell me about yourself.
Yes.
Just a couple. So they'll give you too much detail when they're looking more for that professional background. So you want to make sure you keep it short, but by having that practice with somebody, you kind of know what to talk about.
That's such great information. We've got a blog post that talks about that specific question, because although you know it's coming, when it pops out of someone's mouth, they say it so quickly, you like suddenly deers, and it's scary. It's a scary question, and you're like, okay, the camera's rolling, here we go, and you can just freeze. So I like that about practicing ahead of time with a friend, or just taping yourself. And you're right, there are some services out there that will tape your interview questions, and I think you can even get ones that rank your response. That might be something kind of fun we can do.
And there was one other question too that I see that people get stumped on with that, to say, why would we hire you?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And why you would be hired, but when someone says that and it's just a couple words and they come out so quickly, and it just leaves you stumped for a second. So having that answer already practiced, all ready to go, autopilot, so that you can just focus on lots of other information that's coming at you during an interview. I like this other one that you have about not getting caught in the black hole of resumes. So essentially standing out. So tell us what your expertise is on that, and how we can benefit from that.
Yeah, well, especially now with COVID, I know a lot of people have probably been let go, so they're frantically looking for a job. So they just start sending resumes left and right. And these hiring managers, these recruiters are going through hundreds of resumes a lot. Dietitian's a little bit different just because it's so specialized, but you still want to tailor it. So I really I want people to focus on 5 to 10 companies or jobs that they're looking at and really tailor their resume and create a story on the resume and their cover letter of why your skills are transferable or why you have the skills for that specific position, and research that company and use their buzzwords.
Oh, I like that. Use their buzzwords. That's really key, right? Again, that's just part of getting prepared for that process, prepared for that company, prepared for that interview, whatever it might be. Yeah, that's good. Um, and then, so that sort of ties into the next mistake you see people making, and how to avoid that mistake, and that is researching the company ahead of time. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so say you're looking at Sodexo as a company. And this might be hard, but if you can find the hiring manager for that specific position and research them on LinkedIn and find some keywords as well. I know every time I've had an interview with somebody, I will always look up the hiring manager, even if I have to ask the recruiting manager I've spoken to. I'm like, hey, can I have the hiring manager's name? I'd love to look them on LinkedIn just so I can understand what their background is and have that common ground to talk to them over the phone, because it makes it go smoother from the beginning. It can be hard, but that's where the research comes in. LinkedIn is your biggest asset with that. Also reaching out to the people in the company. If you on LinkedIn, it's really easy. You can type in the company's name and it'll bring up a bunch of people, and just send them a quick email saying, hey, do you mind if I have a chat with you, an informational chat? I would love to learn more about this company as I'm interested in this. So just, it's again, being prepared and knowing about that company before you're stepping in there blindly.
Yeah,
It just looks really good.
I love that. That's great. And I have a course on how to create an all-star LinkedIn profile, which is the sort of nomenclature that LinkedIn uses for a profile that stands out and can be searched. And so I have that available for people to learn how to connect with hiring managers, learn how to search for companies, but also setting up your profile so that you can be searchable as well. So I've got that. I'll put a link in that as well. So that's really good. And in fact, you and I met through a Facebook group. And then just before the interview, I connected with you on LinkedIn because I really wanted to get the title of, not have to have you type it all out for me in this email exchange beforehand. So I was able to connect with you on LinkedIn and really understand who you were professionally. So LinkedIn, there's all kinds of benefits. It serves us well in so many ways, and in our profession. All right.
Hiring managers are looking you up too, so make sure.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So your profile's got to be polished. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the last mistake you recommend is, this can be for information for anybody at any level of any number of years they've been out in the practice, but gaps in your resume. Tell us about gaps in your resume.
So the number one thing that hiring managers told me was, I don't want a job hopper, but there's always an exception. So even your resume can have a year, can have 6 months of a gap. It could be because you left because of pregnancy, you had somebody that you need to take care of, you need to travel abroad, but we don't know that. So we immediately think you're a job hopper, but there is legitimate reasons for that. And if you have the story behind it, great. We want to know it. So please say it in your cover letter, say it somewhere on the application, your email towards them, because more so or not, they're going to skip you and move on to the next person if you don't explain your gaps if you have them.
That is such great information, because it happens. I think there's a variety of reasons why you might have a gap in a job, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're unreliable or that you're a slacker. There's often reasons for that, and I like that you can address that then in your cover letter or however it is that you address it. But like you said, don't hide it. Don't attempt to hide it.
Because
Yeah.
I think they automatically assume the worst, you get fired. But the two biggest reasons why people leave they moved their spouses in the army. I see that a lot. And so
Oh.
they kind had to go with them. And then also women, of course, they do
Yeah,
take time for their children, which is fine, but just explain that, because more hiring managers think, oh, they got fired.
exactly. Exactly. That's perfect. All right. So let's end on two winning strategies. You've got some really great ones. Your first one is to stand out. Tell us about standing out.
So I want people to think of themselves as the hiring manager, and also as a top performer. So what would a top performer do versus an average performer? For example, this is a little far-fetched, but we had somebody send a box of cupcakes with their resume to the hiring manager. They did the research on the hiring manager and they knew that they like sweets. So that person immediately got an interview. So I don't even think he really had the skills, but the fact that he was like, what can I do to stand out? So not that that's going to work for everybody, and cupcakes might not do it, but it's just, you have to step outside of the box. You have to be creative, especially with so many skilled people looking for jobs.
Mm, that's great.
So
I like that.
always just, have that mindset of like, okay, would my resume stick out? Would this catch my eye? What would a top performer do versus an average performer? And if you don't have those skills as a top performer, see what you can do creatively in the next 3 to 6 months to put you as a top performer.
Oh, I like that. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's good information. And then your last one is one that we all know, but tell us about networking.
Network. I know we've all heard this since I don't know when, but since college, university, first job. Network, network, network. Even if old bosses, new bosses, colleagues. So just invest the time into them, whether you're taking people out for coffee, sending them an email on LinkedIn, saying, oh, I saw your background match with mine, would love to get to know you more, or, oh, you have my dream job, can I talk to you about that? So I know it seems odd to reach out to a stranger, but it's not. People love to hear about themselves and talk about themselves. So more so than not, somebody's gonna be like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to you for a few minutes. So just constantly be networking, whether it's with even dietitians or at the gym, book clubs, just constantly. I've 9 out of 10 jobs I've gotten because of networking, because somebody knew me.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that's good.
I know people don't want to hear that, because network, for people who are introverted, it can be difficult, but yeah, emails are great right now. COVID's working for emails, so just send an email. So at least they know you. Because my last job, they had an interesting thing where when you fill out an application, they had a spot on there that said, were you a referral? Put the referral's name. Everybody got spoken to. They just
Oh,
yeah. So everybody was, even if they didn't have the skills, they wanted to speak to people because that company had good employees, and good employees bring other good employees or other people.
good point. Good point. Andrea, these were so awesome. They're perfect. And I know that they're really going to be beneficial for all the dietitians and dietitians to be to listen. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. This was great. I loved it.